Hey, Colleen, I hear you coughing in the background there. How are you feeling, lady?
You can hear me.
I can hear you. Yes.
I am trying not to cough too much. How
Can
are
you?
you feeling?
It won't let me turn my video on.
Oh, why not?
It says that the host has stopped it. So,
Oh, that's
Monica, hi, Deb. It's good to see some familiar faces in here.
Hello. How
I know.
you doing?
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. We are dealing with me not having the voice, but welcome.
And for everybody in here, just so you know, Colleen is sick and I'm getting over pneumonia. This is the first time I've actually spoke for more than 8 minutes without coughing. So if I pause and y'all start hearing a gag, know that we'll get through this. So
There you are, Michelle. Hi.
so now Veronica, I know that you're close to me, so you've got snow and sleet coming down.
Yes.
I can't remember. I can't remember where you are. Where are you located?
Who, me?
No, Deb.
Oh,
Oh, I'm in Dinwiddie and we're getting like freezing rain now, but we got snow and mix. I'd say we caught a couple of inches here.
Full. So yeah, so it's I was kind of dreading it, but I work from home and all of my kids works and schools closed today. So they don't have to be out. So as soon as I get off of here, I'm gonna do a little bit more work and then go back to my holiday vacation that I've been on since Thanksgiving. So
Sounds like a good plan.
Um, so Colleen, I'm just kind of taking over so everybody knows this is Colleen's meeting, and I am so thankful that she invited me to share some strategy going into the new year with you ladies. And I'm going to talk a lot more because Colleen is sick. So, but Deb, if you want to go first while we're waiting and see if anybody else pops in, you want to introduce yourself and to Veronica and Colleen and what you do and maybe what you're hoping to what your goal is for the new year.
Okay. Well, I'm Deborah Carpenter and I am a real estate agent at serving, of course, Dinwiddie County where I live, but Central Virginia, up to Richmond and really wherever I need to go. But my goal, I guess, is to be a little more organized this year. And actually, I've got a call coming in right now for somebody. I'm trying to negotiate a contract at the moment, um, but I'll call her back. Um, anyway, my goal for the year, I guess, is to try to be a little better organized and to concentrate more on more productive marketing.
All right, Veronica, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself? So just so everybody knows before Veronica jumps in, Veronica and I have probably known each other since we were about maybe 10. We're the old school. Yeah.
yes. Good morning. I'm Veronica. I used to be I worked in the human services field for the past 20 some years. About a year and a half ago I was a middle school teacher at John Rolfe, exceptional ed teacher, at John Rolfe Middle School, working with seventh graders. And I worked in collaboration with an English teacher. And I have always been in the human services field working with people with disabilities. So I guess it's my calling. I really enjoyed it. I learned so much about that. That's why I, went back and got my master's degree in psychology and everything. And I spoke with Michelle last month about just some ideas I had. And well, what she don't know is that, like towards the middle of the month, I found another opportunity that I'm trying to get into, and I'm really um thinking about doing that. I plan on doing that, in other words. So just trying to get some organization, because like I said, I bounced off a whole bunch of ideas on, she was like, stick to one, stick to one. And so this one I think would be good because I'm trying to do something that's more remote, right now. And especially like in weather like this, who wants to be going to an office or whatever. But I've had some health challenges, within the past year. So that's another reason why I'm kind of trying to do remote as well. But I've always wanted to start a business. Back in the day, I used to have a 900 number, and it's just I just don't want to see myself working for anyone again. I'm at that age. Well, yeah, I'm at that age where I've learned a lot along the way, and some things that I know now wish I could have did, when I graduated from high school and stuff. But life happens and you have to deal with that.
Veronica, that's that. I don't know if you can hear me. That was so old school that you had a 900 number. I totally forgot about that. Good job.
So and Colleen, do you feel like introducing yourself, or you want me to just give a little blib? I don't want to completely kick you out of your own meeting.
If you can hear me, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
I'm Colleen, and I have been a brick and mortar business owner for 35 years. I've owned 8 brick and mortar businesses that I started from concept and built to profit and then sold for a profit. I'd get burned out and take a break, do it again. So this became a cycle, but 4 years ago, I sold my businesses to become my mom's full-time caregiver, and she passed away shortly after that. But I really realized that I am not in a place where I want to do this over and over again. I want to build something that lasts and that doesn't overwhelm me, where I can have balance in my life and I can stay home and enjoy my home. I've missed out on so many things. So I brought my business building skills online, and now I help women build online businesses.
So, and I'm super excited that me and you connected, and I just love your Facebook group. And so ladies that are here, in the link I put, or in the chat, I put a link to my action planner, which we're going to touch on a little bit today. We're going to talk strategy, but we're going to talk more strategy behind mindset. Because like Veronica said, and if she took anything away from the call, it was focus on one idea, focus on one idea, focus on one idea. And with the action planner, there's a master class that goes with it. I think the class is maybe 25 minutes, and you can put it on and listen to me 2 times and get through it in 15, but it's going to walk you through step by step everything that you need. What I wanted to do today was I wanted to touch on that, but since we have such a small group, I also wanted to help y'all troubleshoot going into the new year about what is keeping you stuck. So Colleen has a great Facebook group for business owners. If you want to drop that in the chat, along with my Biz Bestie link, so everyone can get the action planner. Unless anyone has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can jump in.
Let me make sure I've made you host. Sorry.
So I'm going to send a request for sharing.
Oh, I just made you the host, so you can do whatever you want.
Okay, there we go. Let me move all this around so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the action planner is actually called She's Making It Happen. And it gives you a step-by-step plan. And again, we're going to touch on that. But what I really felt like I wanted to do today was focus on stop making excuses. And I am probably my biggest gift is being able to take big, overwhelming things and break it down into step by steps, which is what the action planner does. But my biggest struggle I see with my clients is they're always making excuses as to why they can't do the action planner. And I want you to hear my heart. Veronica, of course, she knows old school me. So, and then Deb knows me on a professional level as well. But I want you to hear my heart because I'm going to give you a little bit of tough love today. Because the biggest things that I see with entrepreneurs is they say they don't have enough time. And we all have the same amount of time. And there's times in people's lives when you literally do not have enough time. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened the week before Thanksgiving in just a minute. But for the most part, we all have a choice what we want to do with our time. And if you can show up at a full-time job, whether you're working one now or you have in the past, for your boss and do what your boss needs to get done, you can do that for yourself as well. And you need to start thinking of your business like that. Okay, so this is me again to get the action planner, and it is in the chat, michellekuzmich.com/biz bestie. It's absolutely free. And one of the favorite things that is included with the action planner for this collaboration is that once you get through the action planner, you get to schedule a call with me. And one-on-one, I'm going to meet with you and walk you through whatever it is you're struggling with. Because I don't believe in systems without support, because I've taken a bazillion educational tools over the years and just kind of got stuck or not felt like I'm doing it right or whatever. And I really could have used a second set of eyes. So because you're here live today showing up, you get that with me absolutely free. So make sure you snag that. Let me take another bit of a drink. So a couple things, and this isn't a formal thing, but you're probably here when you heard strategic planning because you're tired of missing out on life and want to be able to enjoy it. I'm not sure about Bev that just hopped in, but I know Deb and Veronica are roughly my age. And when we were growing up, it was you got a job, you worked hard, you made money. And, that was just what you did. And fun really wasn't a part of it. It was kind of an afterthought. And now how I plan my days, my weeks, my years, all of it is I plan my fun first. And then I focus on work. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't get my work done because I work my butt off when I'm working. But it is possible planning accordingly that you can do both. All right. If you feel stuck and you don't know where to start and you want someone to just tell you what to do, this planner, I'm so sorry. To my 8 minutes of no talking.
Michelle, I think that's interesting. You said that I'm not much better than you, but you said that fun wasn't a part. And I really have learned as Gen X to make fun a priority because it's such a motivating factor when I get to sit down and work then. Because I have things to look forward to, or I just came off really enjoying something. So I absolutely agree with that.
So if you're feeling stuck, the planner is going to help you. And then if you're motivated to do something different, and this is the hardest thing I have with all of my clients, is getting them to do something different. Okay, it's seriously, it's about finding a solution and staying on track. And it's not easy because we all have certain ways we think, all have certain ways we do things. And when people tell me, when I start sharing with them how to make a plan, how to set a schedule and stuff, they always say, I don't want to do that because that's I don't want to be so stressed out. I have to stick to anything. But here's the thing, it's freeing because you're the one making the schedule. Okay. So if you're one of the people that want to fly by the seat of your pants and have all kinds of balls in the air and everything, and sticking to a schedule and making a plan is overwhelming you, I want you to know you have to get past that, because you're not working for a boss anymore. You're working for yourself. So you get to make your own schedule, and the freedom comes with that. All right. So this is me and my family. Just so you see a little bit of real me. These are my three biological children. This is my bonus daughter and her fiance that were home for Christmas. I call her my bonus daughter. I got rid of her dad, but I kept her. So she's still so much part of my family. These are my two little rescue puppies. And I've been a single mom since for the last 10 years. I'm sorry, it's gonna get bad. Hang on. Prior to that, I started my very first business in the year 2000 to be able to stay at home with my daughter. And I've kind of shifted my business for the last 25 years to fit into my kids' lives and my life. So again, my very first business, which is still operating today, Michelle Kuzmick Photography. I've gotten out of the weddings for the most part. I still shoot a few, but I'm really doing real estate and branding photography. I opened up the Michelle Kuzmick Photography Business Academy, so I help other photographers start their own business. Also started the She's Making Her Way magazine, because why not just throw something else into the mix? So I'm a serial entrepreneur. And my full-time adventure starting last year was as an online business strategist and Kajabi expert. So I share all that with you because when you look at it, and people are like, oh my, you accomplished so much, blah, 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 blah. And it's been great and I've been blessed. But really, each one of those decisions has been a decision based on what I wanted in my life and where my kids were. So when I talked about Michelle Kuzmick Photography, I used to shoot 30 weddings a year because my kids were little and their dad was with them on the weekends, so I could be gone. I'm sorry, let me stop coughing for a minute.
Just posting in the chat that if you have not seen Michelle's magazine, you need to check that out. It's really awesome. I love it.
Thank you. And it kind of brought us to where I am today, because now that my kids, actually, my baby just turned 18, all three are adults. I don't have to take them to work or any place anymore. So I can travel. And that's how I turned my business into an online business, because I don't have to be here all the time. Okay, so now here's where my tough love comes in, and hear my heart, because if you don't know me, this might sound a little snotty, but please know that that's not my intention in the least. If you are not reaching your goals at least 80% of the time, it's because you're either not doing the things you need to do, which the action planner is going to take care of that, or you're not thinking the things that you need to think. And what do I mean by that? So first, actually, let me just because we're all here for strategy, just want to tell you the action planner is a roadmap to the business and life of your dreams. It's going to help you create a clear profit plan, so that you can start prioritizing what matters and focus on the specific actions you need to run a profitable business without having to sacrifice the people and things you love most. Again, michellekuzmick.com/bizbestie, so you can get your copy. My goal for you today is to talk about the excuses that you're making that keep you from achieving your dreams and get you unstuck. And I'm going to give you a few examples, and then I want to kind of open up for some questions for just a couple seconds, and see where you are and what you feel like is holding you back. And I'm going to tell you a couple of excuses that I've heard from my clients recently, and I say this with much love. I've had a client, and we've been working together for about a year and a half, and he needs a contract. Okay. I mean, that's fairly cut and dry, right? He needs a contract. However, he tends to text me the day before and say, "Hey, can we meet tomorrow?" On average, that never works for me. Now, there is times that I can wiggle people in at the last minute, but it just hasn't worked that when, I can get him when he needs it. So one of the things that I've said to him on multiple occasions is, yes, I can do it tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And for those of you who I time block my time. So I hold appointments at 10, 11:30, 1, 2:30, and 4 o'clock every day. 4 o'clock is the last thing that I book. Most of the time, I don't have anything booked there. So it's used for me to catch up and get things done. So that's typically open. And he has told me on many occasions that he walks his dog at 4 o'clock and works out every day. And he could not meet at 4 o'clock. And I was being challenging because I could only give him a 4 o'clock. I said, okay. I said, and that's fine. And I understand boundaries more than anyone. But if you need something done and you definitely need a contract so you can make money, what is more important to you for 1 hour? Walking your dog at 4 o'clock or meeting with me at 4 o'clock to get your contract done? Again, I'm not saying do this all the time, but it was a shift that we had to talk. We talked through because you can't just say, well, I need this, I need this, I need this. And walking your dog is always taking priority. Because the hardest part about being a prior entrepreneur is having the freedom to run your own business. And that's also the biggest blessing of being an entrepreneur. So you have to make choices about how you're going to prioritize your time. I had another client doing extremely well in her business, and we've been working together for about 6 months. And one of the things that she liked to do was buy things. And when I say buy things, I'm talking about educational tools. So if I put something up on and said, "Hey, I've got the action planner that you guys are getting for free today," normally with the call sells for about $197. So I would, put something up and she would buy it. And I would share an affiliate link and she would buy it. And I had this thing, I said, "I'm going to tell you, because I love you, but stop buying the crap." And she said, "What?" And I said, "You don't need any of this. Every piece of educational tool you need, you've already gotten. You need to do it." So when we meet on Monday and I say, "Hey, did you get this, this, and this done?" And you say no, because I was learning this, this, and this, that's not making you any money. So we need to prioritize getting things done instead of planning to get things done. So with that being said, does anybody want to fess up and tell me some things that are keeping you stuck in your life? Now I'm gonna start unmuting people and calling on y'all.
Okay, I'll go. Uh, I would say for myself, it has been a challenging year for me, although a productive one, mainly because of my mother having health issues. And for some reason, I tend to be the main caregiver, although there's other family members. So I'm working on trying to get them to step up more so that all the responsibility is not on me, because then I do put my work last, which I probably should. My mother's 85 years old, but still, she's been hospitalized 4 times this year, and most of it this past fall. So I was very close to hitting my goal for the year, and I was just shy of making it, which I'm happy I came that close. But still, I I was a little disappointed, and I'm looking at what could I have done different to have made that goal.
And here is my answer for you. I don't think there's anything that you could have done different. Hear you. That was one of the things that life just hit you, and your priority was your mom. And I can tell you, after missing many goals and been the caretaker of my mom and spent many nights sobbing on the bathroom floor when my kids were growing up, that looking back, that all of those goals that I missed meant nothing because I have no regrets about how I raised my kids, and I missed a moment.
Yeah.
So when you work through the action planner, it's going to keep you focused on getting your goals in place and what to do daily. But one of the things that I teach is if you're hitting 80% of the time, congratulate yourself. So if you're really close to that goal and you've been your mom's primary caretaker, pat yourself on the back. Okay?
Thank you.
Give yourself some grace. If Veronica or Bev, do either one of you guys want to hop in?
Lord, let me see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess they can be excuses, but then depends on what you're going through in life. Mine was just one was making sure I had the money for it, but then I thought about it. If I spend money on certain things, 'cause sometimes I play lottery, you know, and I just thought about, hey, well, if I just save my money from, sometimes just spending stuff on frivolous things that you really don't need, especially if you're trying to get a business. And then one was I made myself too accessible to people. So last year, I had to cut some people off, and and I'm sorry if they get mad, but it's like it was always what they needed. I was all because like I said, I've been in this field for a long time. In the human services field for over 20 some years, and I know, and I have a lot of information. I know a lot. One of my strongest points is writing. Like doing the ASPs, individual service plans, and stuff like that. And there's always people always wanting me for them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what about me? And I remember when I was in the hospital, and I also ultimately went to a nursing home in March of for rehabilitation for about almost a month. And I can just remember me doing work. I took my laptop with me, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm here trying to heal, and you got the nurses coming in every now and then taking blood and doing the checking my vitals, and it's like nobody really cared about. All they wanted was me to get whatever I had to get done, and that's what I did. So and it always, even when I had my surgery on my neck in 2020, I had I had some issues with my mobility, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And come to find out through an MRI that my nerves were severely crushed with damage in C4 to C7 in my neck. So I had to have surgery, and I have a plate in my neck, and I work, even though I work from home. I was always working for somebody. So I said, you know what, no more of that, no more of me giving away my time and my life, because that's what the position I'm in now, because I didn't focus on anything. Then I can just remember my mama passed in 2015. And she always said, I always brought my work home. She said, well, you always, and that just, it still resonates with me, because I've always given my time to stuff that really wasn't worth it. It was me, just people stealing away from me my life. And I mean, that's an excuse, but it's also, I just had to start. I had to say no, and that's my thing, not being able to say no, because not all money is good money.
So I'm going to kind of interrupt you there for a minute. So, yes, that what you've said has been some excuses, and some of them have been legitimate. But what I want you to take away from that is that you were making excuses, and you need to do something different. So be proud of yourself. because that is the biggest realization, that if you learn nothing else today, that you know that you've been focusing on the wrong things, that is going to be a great takeaway for you. So pat yourself on the back and give yourself
Thanks.
some love.
Can I, can I interrupt for a minute?
Uh-huh.
Veronica, I feel like I have the same problem always saying yes to my kids and the people around me because I want their needs met. And I've always put them first. It's really hard for me too, but I have realized that I've trained my kids to rely on me that way by doing that. And so now it's just a new training. Now I'm training them that I'm first and that they're adults and they can make it. And if it's a for real emergency, I'll be there. But some things they need to learn and grow on their own. And it's kind of, uh, I don't know, really hard for me to just kind of push them out that way, but also very good for me because it certainly has freed up my time and allowed me to refocus my intentions.
So, and this is a fun story. So during COVID, I was, I had all three kids at home, and all three of them were still in school at that time. And it was just chaos here because my normal quiet time of me getting my work done was, interrupted. And I put up a sign literally in my office that hung on my ring light that said, "Stop. Mom is building a dream. You cannot enter right now." And they knew when that sign was out that whatever I was working on, they could not come in. And when the sign, they could walk through my office at any time they wanted, but if that sign was out, that what I was working on needed my full attention. And I told them that I said, if y'all can just help me get through this month. It was in November of that year. I had my second highest revenue month ever in the 25 years I've been in business during COVID. And I took my kids to Disney in December. And I said, if I can get through this month, we're going to Disney. So, and we, since that time, I've learned to tell them, although I'm not working on a big dream like taking them to Disney like I did that year, I tell them, hey, I'm writing copy right now. I can't talk to you. And they're fine as long as I let them know. So they come in and out of my office all day long. And they're not down here today because they know I'm on video and they're scared I'm gonna put the camera on them. But that's probably the biggest thing when you are so stretched thin, is just letting someone know why you can't help them. And I'll tell you another story real quick. And then Bev, I'm gonna call on you if you want to jump in here and share some things in a minute, but so you can get ready. But the week prior to Thanksgiving, I normally take off Thanksgiving through New Year's. And this year was going to be a little bit different because I did have a client in the middle of launching. So I knew there was going to be some work that I had to be done. The week prior to Thanksgiving, one of my friends called me and he literally had an hour to get his mom taken from the hospital into assisted living because they were kicking her out of the hospital with 1 hour notice. 3 days later, my nephew was attacked by a dog and ended up in surgery. And so that whole week when I would have been getting crap done, nothing got done because I was there for them and no issues whatsoever. And it went into Thanksgiving and stuff like that. But so the first to second week of December, I was behind the eight ball because of things that had happened. And I just had to tell people, I literally cannot do one more thing right now. And if you can just give me some grace, I will take care of it when that happens. And I was just very, very honest with them. And, everything worked out. And so sometimes it's just a matter of, instead of internalizing and feeling bad because you can't help someone, or feeling like people are trying to just get stuff from you all the time. It's just a matter of saying, hey, I can't do this right now. And this is why. And like Veronica said, you can always cut people off, because I've had to do that too. Um, Bev, since I've given you some time now and you've had some chance to get warmed up, would you like to unmute and add anything before we move on? Don't know if Bev is still there, or
Hi, can you hear me now?
yes, hey Bev, there you are. So,
Yeah, it took me a moment to get unmuted.
yeah.
But yeah, I think you're making a lot of very interesting points, Michelle. I think for me, I put a little quote in the chat, and what I've always found is that I'm a creative person just by nature, so I always have a lot of ideas. So I'll get started going down one road, and then something else will pop in my head. It's almost like, oh, a bright shiny object, and I'll pause what I'm doing, and I'll run off to do something with that, and it prolongs my original task or project, because what I should be doing is ignoring all those little bright, shiny objects, and maybe making a mental note for later. And that's something that it's really taken me a while to figure out. So I'm interested in seeing your course. The quote I put in was by Thomas Edison, and it's vision without execution is hallucination. And when I came across that quote a few years ago, I actually printed it off and I stuck it up on my wall, just because having a vision is easy for me. It's focusing on the execution part is where I know that I break down a little bit, and I really have to keep that top of mind. So I'm looking forward to seeing your vision planner. So is that in Facebook? Is that where the link is?
If you scroll up in the chat, I dropped it in, but it's and I'm going to share the link here in a couple more minutes. But
Okay, yeah. I see the link for the magazine, the e-magazine, but
yeah,
I
it's
don't see the
above
one
that.
for you.
It's one of the very first things in the chat that you can get it.
I think maybe I signed on a little bit a few minutes late, so it might have been in the chat before
Okay,
I
let me
arrived.
see. Yeah, do you see it in the chat? Can you drop it again? There we go. Yeah, okay, so it was let me see if I can get this in there. Oh, it's not letting me copy it. Okay, so it's see if it'll add it.com/. It won't let you click on it now, but that's what it is. It's michellekuzmich.com/biz bestie.
Okay, I copied it, so I believe I'm all good now. The other thing I wanted to just, if we've got time, I just wanted to address is that everybody seems to be discussing prioritizing their kids and their family and so forth. And I think when you're at that stage of life, it's not something that we can really do much about. If you've got kids, you have to take care of them. And I think that's one advantage when your kids get a little older, for us, is that they don't need us to the same extent. And when we see them, it's more social. I mean, they're still your kids, but it's not, they don't need their day-to-day needs met by you. They're perfectly capable of doing that themselves. And I think that's kind of freedom, you know?
It's the joke in my house now that all my kids have jobs and cars and stuff is, where's mom going this week? You know, so my youngest he just turned 18. He was walking out of the house one day and said, I said, have a good day. I said, I'm not going to be here when you get back. And he said, so where are you going now? Florida, California, Wyoming? I was like, grocery store? Yeah. You
Yeah.
do have a freedom when they get older. And the biggest thing is setting your goals when they're younger that you're enjoying them and realizing there's going to be time to reach your other goals soon.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna kind of walk you through the steps that's in the planner, and there's a whole bunch of worksheets and stuff in there. And but I want to go through because again, it's more about a mindset thing. Because me and a bazillion other strategists could give you the steps to do it, and you can sit here and do it. But actually implementing it is where people run into trouble. So step one is it always starts with a vision, a dream, and a destination. And here's a little tough love I'm going to give you. More is not a destination. So I want more money. That is not a destination. And I want to work less. That is not a goal. Okay, so what I mean by that is I want more money. Okay, we all want more money. I completely get that. But how much is more? Okay, so for me, if I hit the 150 thousand revenue mark, I'm good. Like, I mean, I've got stuff for my basics, a little bit of extra, I can take care of my kids and things like that. So if I wanted more, maybe I want more because I want to take a month off and go to Hawaii. So my more would be $10,000 more. But what is your more mean to you? And do you know what your base is? Because, and this is getting into a little bit of the nitty gritty, and I'm going to show you the planning sheet in just a minute, but people think if they have money coming in as an entrepreneur, they're making money, and that is not always the case. So you have to know your financial destination in regards to what it is you have to make to be able to pay the bills. Because in my business academy for photographers, they're charging, they do a session for $50. And I'm like, okay, so you've spent an hour talking to your client, you spent an hour shooting your client, now you've spent an hour editing your client and delivering it with them. So you've put 3 hours into that $50, less taxes, you're not even making minimum wage. So when you got to get clear on what your destination is. And when I say working less is not a goal, you need specific goals. My goal is always to work 10 to 4 Monday through Thursday. Does that always happen? Absolutely not. It doesn't. But that is always my goal. And if I hit that 80% of the time, I'm okay. And when I set those times on myself, it says when from 10 to 4, I'm in work mode. And at 4 o'clock, just like if I left a corporate job, I can walk in my house and not think about it again. And that's kind of how you have to get clear on your vision and your destination. Does anybody have any questions about that before we move on? And I know this is a high level overview, but I tell you, when you dig into the planner and you watch the 20-minute masterclass, this is going to tell you step by step exactly how to figure this out. Okay. So again, going with more is not a destination and less is not a goal. You can't say, I want to make $100,000 a year. I want to make $1 million, whatever it is you want to make, without a plan. And that's what I see a lot of entrepreneurs and people that work for themselves doing is they just say, okay, I'm going to make $1 million this year, and then just start throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something hits. It always starts with a plan. And so Deb, I'm going to pick on Deb just because last year at this time, I was teaching a realtor class, this exclusively to realtors. So Deb, can you tell me, if you're willing to share, what your 90-day goal is for January, February, and March?
Good question. I haven't even worked on that yet because of these other things going on the last few months. I'm trying to work on all that this week, actually. But I can say one of my goals, also, um, maybe even a side business for me, is working using AI.
Uh-huh.
I am getting certified in the use of AI, and to set myself apart and differentiate myself and to be able to use it better in my business. I already use it, but I want to use it better and more productively. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you actually dig into it. And that's one of my goals in the next 3 months, is to be certified.
Okay, so now here's what I want. So, and we're gonna pretend like that's your only goal is to
Okay.
be certified. Okay. So tomorrow, and I'm sorry, you're still taking care of your mom, correct?
Yeah, she's on the mend, but she still requires my attention.
Okay. So tomorrow, your mom gets put in the hospital. They're working on her in the room for 5 hours. You're sitting in the hospital room, and what are you going to work on while your mom's in there and you can't do anything for her?
Oh, I would be working on my phone. I take my phone or a tablet or something with me, my computer, whatever. I always have something with me to work on.
Right. But specifically, what are you going to work on?
Um, Honestly, my daily plan changes depending on what I am like right now. Today, I've been working on negotiating a contract for a sale. So, depending on what's going on with my real estate business, kind of plays into what other things I may be doing. But if I don't have something pressing that I need to do for real estate, I'd likely be working on getting my certification, because that's something I can do, study online.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you. That was the answer I was looking for. So anytime I'm working on a new project, because I'm a morning person, my first hour of the day is always going to be to help me, something that's going to help me reach that goal. So tomorrow, or if that happens, and your first hour is going to be, I'm going to work on this AI certification, and then I'm going to put all the fires out.
Okay.
I'm making that a priority. Now, again, and I hear you and I completely understand real estate has a lot of fires. And if you're responding. But what I find is, and I'm not saying you do this, I just know from working with my clients, is they'll spend 10 minutes on the phone leaving me a voice message telling me everything that's happening in their life, and why they can't get something done instead of just spending 10 minutes to help them reach that goal. Does that make
Yeah.
sense to
Oh,
you?
yeah. Yeah, I understand.
So just when all the fires start coming, just bring your brain back around to my goal for the next 90 days is my AI certification. What can I do to make that happen? Okay, that should always be part of your plan.
Okay.
This is, and I touched a little bit on it, this is in your planner. And again, it's about how to calculate your best life weekly paycheck goal. If you are not a numbers person, and this is me, when people start to get the hair starts to raise, giving you some tough love. If you're not a numbers person and you are an entrepreneur, you're either going to need to learn how to be one or hire someone to be one for you. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Um, Deb loves real estate. Veronica loves caregiving. I love working with my clients, but at the end of the day, we all have to pay bills. So being an entrepreneur, you have to plan for your writing yourself a paycheck. All right, let's see. And step 3 is just breaking it down into baby steps. And that's kind of what I walked Deb through. Now, hey, you've got a lot of fires out, but can you give me 1 hour where you can work on your next thing to help you reach your goal? And step 4, again, make it a priority. So if for the next 90 days you were saying that you can't, oh, Deb left. So I hope I didn't pick on her too much. But I'm sure she had a client to run off to. But you have to prioritize it. So if you're saying for 90 days you want one thing, and I gave Veronica this tough love too, and you heard her in the beginning. But what is one thing that you want to do? What is one thing? Focus on one thing, and make it a priority. And then step 5, and again, it's getting it done. It's not about learning more. It's not about, making more plans or anything. It's about sitting down every day and focusing on one thing to get it done. And this will show you, this is broken down in the planner, and it shows you exactly how I plan my days. And probably other than, hey, Deb, I was wondering if I gave you too much of a hard time.
No. I accidentally somehow I knocked myself out. I'm like, what did I do?
You're fine. So, other than the best life paycheck in your planner, this is probably going to be one of your biggest resources. And I wanted to walk you through what this looks like. Now, this was something I did in 2020. So I have this sheet printed out every day for me. I keep a running to-do list, which means in one place. I don't care if you do that digitally or you do it in a notebook, everything in one place. And sometimes, even when I'm overwhelmed, it might be sew a button on a shirt. Okay. Because once you get things out of your head and into a list, your brain can relax. If anybody, I have a struggle sleeping, but if I don't have it written down, then I'll spend an hour at night thinking, I need to remind myself I need to do this in the morning. I need to remind myself to do this in the morning. So whatever it is, keep a running to-do list. And I'm gonna walk you through how I do my daily planning. So every morning I write down, again, this was when we went to Disney in 2020, 6 things I'm grateful for. Okay, it is not, oh my gosh, my health. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be something as simple as I found a parking spot in Walmart. Okay, just focus on something that makes you happy, because we spend so much time thinking about last week I was sick or blah, 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 blah. When you get into the habit of doing daily gratitude every day, it puts your brain in a whole different place. Okay. So back in 2020, my goal was to launch this planner. Oh, I'm sorry, somebody's talking. Oh, Melody's here. Hi, Melody.
Hello.
So I didn't know if somebody was talking or if they just came unmuted or anything. I'm gonna
It came unmuted when I put it down. I apologize. I just realized that.
You're okay. I just wanted to make sure someone wasn't trying to ask a question. So every day I write down my 90-day goals, and yes, I do it every day. And the reason why I do that is it keeps me focused on what I'm going to accomplish in the next 90 days. So for this particular year, it was to launch the planner, actually, that you guys are getting for free, and sell 500 units, reach my goal weight, and get my email list to 5,000. So when I got down to my next list, so my top 6 things I needed to do personally and my top 6 things for business, my top 6 things for business needed to reflect moving me forward on those 90-day goals. All right, Melody. So me and Colleen are both sick, just so you know. I keep drinking because the coughing is real here. So, and then here is why, hands down, I can get more done than 90% of the population in an average day. Because if I have something to do, like today I had 10:30 on the calendar, to meet with everybody. But I also have a website that I needed to get launched for one of my clients. So on my calendar, that website launch has a time slot just like a doctor's appointment. Okay, so if I have something on my to-do list, and I'll talk about here. So I had the Facebook ad for the planner that I needed to do. I would schedule a time for that on my to-do list. It wasn't, I'm going to get it done when I can. It was scheduled to get it in. So any work that you need to get done that is a priority, it needs to go on your daily planner, just like a doctor's appointment was. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does anybody have any reasons they want to share why that might be hard?
Michelle, I don't know if you can hear me, but I feel like you have to really be protective of that. Treat it like your vet appointment or your kid's doctor's appointment, and just make sure that you make it happen.
Yep.
We've spent years being reliable for everybody else. It's time we do that for ourselves. So you really just have to be reliable and make it happen.
And that's exactly it, because when you put it on the calendar, you have to treat it like it's a priority. Like for the most part, you're not going to call and tell your doctor, hey, I've got something else to get done. The dog peed on the floor and, blah, 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 blah. I can't get to my appointment. You're going to show up. And when you put it on the calendar, you have to plan your business just like you would showing up for someone else. Okay. And just wanted to kind of go back through, and I've given a lot of tough love. Hopefully it wasn't too tough and everybody still wants to be my friend. But I wanted to go through a couple reasons why you're still here, and then we'll open it back up to questions, and we'll get closed out. But sorry, my little Zoom screen keeps getting in the way. Here's where the tough love comes in. You have two options after we get off the phone today. You can use what you've learned to start implementing new habits and systems to grow your business and do it alone and just keep winging it. Or you can go all in, you can download the planner, and you can schedule an appointment with me to give you the kick in the butt that you needed to make sure that it gets done. Because winging it is never going to work. And I want you to know that just the accountability part, I work with very high functioning women that are making millions more than what I will ever make in my lifetime daily. But because I am their accountability, they pay me to keep them accountable. They show up and they get things done. So today, when we get off the phone, it's not only about going into the action plan and creating it, but it's about getting it done and following through. Okay. And let me get back the other way. Okay. And then this just tells you again, michellekuzmick.com/bizbestie to get your planner. And at the end of the planner, once you finish it, please do not schedule an appointment with me if you have not read that planner and been through it and at least attempted it, because I'm going to come back at you and be like, I'm not a babysitter here. I want you to work on the planner and then we will work through it together once we get on a call. But at the end of the planner, you jump right in. It'll give you my calendar, no sales pitch, nothing like that. I just want to talk to you about what we went through today, what you struggled with in the planner, and to get you moving forward so that 2025 can be a fabulous year for you. And here we are. So, um, who has questions? Who wants to bring something up? What can I help you with?
It's not really a question, more of one thing that I find when you do schedule. So I do the same thing. I find it helpful to schedule just about everything, including dusting. But I have an actual time that I do house cleaning to get it done. However, I think that part of the problem is that others don't get it, those that aren't in their own business or that um, just don't respect that. So things get moved. And like you said, a doctor's appointment is important. And so nobody's going to say, hey, don't cancel that. But, the time I put to dust the house or to follow up on clients or do my project manager tasks, the things I have scheduled, it's sometimes hard to get others to find it as important as, having doctor's appointments. Mostly family is kind of, not other clients.
So, I think you came in after I had this,
Oh, I apologize.
so during 2020, so all three of my kids were still in school at that time. Of course, I was working from home and, on top of it just being a dumpster fire, it was more of a dumpster fire because we have 4 people in this house. And what I physically did was I put up a sign and it said, "Stop, Mom is building a dream. Do not enter."
That's nice.
Hung it on my ring light, and the kids knew, and I told them before, November of 2020 was my second highest revenue year or revenue month in the 25 years that I've been in business. And the kids knew when they came in that I was working on something that they could not. Now, I didn't keep that up all day because when I was doing things that they could come and go, it wasn't a big deal. But I put that in place. And now that I write copy and things like that, the kids, because my office is the first room you get to when you walk in the house. And I don't know how old your kids are. My youngest just turned,
Phenomenal.
okay, my youngest just turned 18, but I've been a business owner since they were born. But now when they come through and they're talking to me, what they'll hear me say is, "I'm sorry, I'm writing copy right now."
Mm-hmm.
They know when I'm writing copy, I can't, like, I need to focus. And they're totally okay with that. But they had to understand. And I've even said to them, because 2 of my kids work full-time jobs, and both are in college. If I walked into your room in your office when you were trying to do this and wanted to talk to you at your job, you couldn't talk to me, and that's where I am now. And
That's
again,
good.
it's a matter of they have to be able to understand, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
You can put it in perspective. Normally, they respect that.
Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's not, I don't have little kids at all, but it's just the fact of, um, you're here at home. Like you said, if you went to their job, it's different. And so both of, my family, they go to work. So sometimes it's looked at a little bit differently because I'm sitting in this seat, even though I start earlier and end later. Um, it's a little bit, and it's not disrespectful. It's just not really, I like the note. I like how you put the note because it's not intentional. It's not disrespectful. It's the fact that you're sitting here, I'm walking past you, just like you said, it's right in the front door.
So one of the things, I was married for 20 years, and that used to drive me up a wall was their dad, and he didn't mean anything by it. It
Mhm.
was the way I processed it was either, "So what are you doing tomorrow?" And I would just look at him like, "Do you have any freaking idea what I'm doing tomorrow with 2 babies in diapers and one?" Or he would come home and say, "What have you been doing all day?" And thinking, breathing, that was probably when, yeah. But he really didn't
Didn't mean-
understand what
Right, right.
one. And so if you can communicate to them, hey, like for me, it's always when I'm writing copy.
Hmm.
I'm writing copy, I can't focus right now.
Yeah.
And I've also, because I've gotten more intentional, especially the last 6 months, my kids will say things to me and it goes in one, I'm mumbling, but not present. Where they've walked out of the house and I've stopped what I was doing and went to the door and said, I am so sorry. I was completely in the zone. I love you,
Yeah.
day or whatever. So
Yeah.
it's a on both sides. You have to get intentional.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I've done that too. Like halfway down, they're like, wait, I'm opening the window, like, stop, love you.
Yeah. So they also do like to say, Mom, I told you this 4 days ago. And I'm like, if you don't text it to me and it's not wrote down, don't expect me to remember. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Yes, yeah. I like your approaches to it. So thank you.
Yeah, it's the planning is the easy part. Giving yourself grace is the hard part.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
so
Thank you.
any other questions? Because I know we've reached our hour, and Colleen, although y'all don't know, she is very, very sick. So, and I know she's ready to go back to bed.
Well, thank you both for being willing to do this, even if you're under the weather.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us, and we will do this again every Monday at the same time. And so if you're not in our group, be sure to join the Facebook group, and I will post the link in there. And then also I will post the recording in there also. Does anybody need the
Thank
link?
you.
Thank you.
The link to the Facebook group I haven't seen in the chat, but I might have missed it. So
I put it in there, but if somebody came late, they wouldn't have got it. So let me
yeah,
grab
we'll
it.
go ahead and drop that again. And then that way, when they're in the group, they'll have access to the planner and stuff too if they missed it.
Okay, there it is. Thank you, ladies. Enjoy your day.
I just know I've got everybody's name in my brain, so I'm waiting for y'all to schedule your clarity call with me once you get through the planner so I can help you.
And I've already grabbed my planner, so I'm gonna wait till I can talk better to do my call.
Have a great year, ladies. I'm always here if you need anything.
All right, thank you.
ladies.
Thank you all. You too. Bye-bye.